Ah, third time's the charm, I hope. I want to share a story with you that has impacted me. I must have heard this. I heard this over 15 years ago because it's been 15 years since I've been a Christian, and this was something that I was aware of before I became a Christian. The moral of this story: there's a village, and outside the village on the main road is a elderly person. And one day, a stranger came walking up the road, going toward the village, and the stranger was moving to this new village. And the stranger asked the elderly person, "What are the people like in this village?" And the elderly person asked, "What were they like at your old village, your previous one?" And the stranger said, "Oh, they were wonderful people. It was such a great community. Anytime someone needed any help, we were there. They were there for me. I was there for them. They were always so helpful. Anyone had anything, they'd share. It was just a great place. I'm really sad to leave it. I miss them already." And the elderly person smiled and said, "People here are like that too. They're really good people." And the stranger happily moved into the new village. Well, not too much longer, another stranger comes up, also moving into the village, and also asks the elderly person, "What are the people like here?" And again, the elderly person asked, "What were they like at your old village?" And the stranger said, "Oh, they were horrible, backstabbing, gossipy, interfering, couldn't do anything without one of them telling me I was doing it wrong. And it was just horrible." The elderly person frowned and said, "They're like that here too. I'm sorry, And the stranger, "Oh well, I guess I gotta live with it," and moved in. Now the elderly person was talking about the same village and gave two totally different descriptions. And I'm not explaining it because I think you can't understand it, but just the impact it had on me was, it's me. It's my attitude. It's also my focus. Am I going to focus on those jerks that's going to interfere and tell me I do everything wrong? Or am I going to focus on those wonderful people that are supportive and there for me? And I think in our lives we run across all kinds of people. And it's the ones we choose to remember, the ones we choose to focus upon, that impacts our life more. There's always going to be somebody negative in my life. In another video, I said it was my mom. My mom's very negative, but I adore her. She can also be a lot of fun. And I'm seeing her frailty. She's getting up there, and I'm concerned about her. And I don't know how much longer we'll have her in our lives. But even with her gone, there's going to be someone else that's going to be the negative, that may even take joy in telling me I was wrong. My mom takes great pleasure in pointing out my errors. I was like, "Mom, I've had to point that out to her." But in the end, even with her, I'm not in denial about her bad side. And I try not to be in denial about other people, but I deliberately choose to focus on their good qualities. My mom is an excellent cook. And she's also generous. In her way, she is very generous. And to the point of being the enabler. And I can choose to pick those qualities to focus upon, and not her constant doom and gloom and Christians are bad stuff. And that's the same with other people in my life. I've got some real life vampires that I'm learning not to allow them to drain me. And it's been interesting as I deliberately refuse to be drained. I deliberately refuse to play the way by their rules. For the most part, they start leaving me alone. One of them, I'm actually seeing some positive growth, some maturity happening. I keep praying, but every once in a while, I see it, and then all of a sudden they go back to their old pattern and try to draw me back into it. And it's up to me to go, no, you're not sucking the life out of me today. We're not going to talk about this again. We're not going to bash your husband, who is not at fault in this. He's not. And it's been interesting. Anyway, that parable really impacted me about my circumstances. It doesn't matter what my circumstances are, it matters how I'm responding. It makes a huge impact it's had on others that I wasn't aware of at the time. And when people come back later and go, when you did this, it really, and I had no idea, It wasn't, I didn't know I was going to impact them that way. I was just doing what I had to do for myself to make things as well as I could for myself. Anyway, I hope that the parable is helpful to you. Be blessed.